Okay, as we move into this final phase of the course, we're going to touch a little bit on investments. Please keep in mind this is not an upper level finance class. We're not going to get very deep into investments, just going to kind of cover some vocabulary and a little bit of understanding about what investments do. So essentially, an investment is an outlay of cash today in anticipation of some cash return in the future. The amount of cash you anticipate and the likelihood that you feel of getting that cash in the future, that determines how much you're willing to pay for an investment today. Investments can fall into two broad categories. One is where you are owed something by an organization, by the company. The other side would be where you own a portion of the company. So when you are owed something, that's typically a debt investment. That company is indebted to you in some way, and that's a bond. We'll talk a little bit about bonds and how they're paid out. One thing about bonds is most of them have a fixed known cash flow and a definite duration. So flip over to the other side and talk about where you own a portion of the company. When you hear ownership, we typically talk about the word equity. So these are equity investments, and these are primarily stocks. The book covers some other things like real estate and collectibles. But when you own a stock, you own a portion of the company, and you are entitled to whatever dividends the company determines are necessary to pay out, etc. But with a stock, there's not a known duration of ownership because it's infinite until you sell it, and there's no guarantee of cash flows. So broadly speaking, when you are owed something, that's a debt investment. When you own something, that's an equity investment. Debt investments are like bonds, equity investments are like stocks.